if it isn't the hugely entertaining, octave crushing, back flipping, high fashion, stash growing legend. Dude, I feel like we've been like missing each other on the inside track of your meteoric rise the whole time. I'm glad I finally caught up to you. How are you, dude?
Dude, I'm doing good. It's definitely been a crazy couple weeks. But we're living.
More than living, man. You've been creating. And it can be crazy all at once as long as you got music and things to say and stuff ready to go. Can let it be crazy, right?
Yeah.
How important was it that you showed up at the beginning of this year at your best, knowing that you had a song ready to go and that the music was done? I mean, would it have altered your decision, do you think, to kind of lean into the Grammys and other things if you weren't ready to just pick up and keep moving forward?
Last year was a crazy year, and I think there's always kind of a little bit of pressure to follow up a hit with another hit, and I think once we got word that the Grammys performance was happening, I didn't want to go into that empty-handed. And I've been in the studio a lot the last couple of months, just working on a new album and new songs and kind of a little bit of a new sound, and yeah, so I just tried to take advantage of the moment and be ready for it. And I didn't even know what kind of a moment it would be. That was very shocking to me. I thought I was going to have definitely one of the more minimal, not talked about performances.
Bro, you did parkour off a grand piano. What were you doing? Are you out of your mind? I mean, when you did that, I was like, and you landed it, and I don't know what shoes you were wearing, but they weren't appropriate shoes.
There's not really appropriate shoes for that.
That's true. That's true.
It's like I'd have to throw on a pair of Hokas or something
with extra grip.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, what goes through your mind when you're doing that? I'm sure you're probably gearing up. We're going to get to the song in a second, but I've seen you perform. I know how amazing you are, but when you get to that place where it overwhelms you and you know you're going to do it, I never get the feeling it's premeditated or it's choreographed. I get the feeling that you just are in that moment. It's like, I'm just going to do this because it's what I feel. Otherwise, you could stack it if you thought about it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much my thought process is that there's not a thought process. It's more just like when I'm up there, I just kind of do whatever feels right. If that's a flip, great. Like I wasn't even planning on doing that second flip, the little backflip twisty thing.
Yeah.
But during the moment, I was like, you know what? I've been standing here for a while, and I'm just gonna do a flip, and that's how it went.
I love it, man. I love it. I love the energy you put into all aspects of what it is that you do. And it's not just about the craft, but it would run its course if the songs weren't great and if you didn't love the process of making great songs. And that's what, we hear in someone else is just another great song. Let's talk about the making of this song. It deserves it. Where were you? Who did you work with? What was the vibe? What was going on that day? What did you have for breakfast? Paint a picture for us, Benson.
Dude, honestly, the day that we wrote this song, I was having a pretty weird day. I was just like,
I knew it. As soon as I heard this song, I was like, this is a reaction to a shitty day. It's not one of those like happy days. I'm gonna write a happy song. It's like, nah, he's pushing back.
I was in my head a little bit and emotional, and I just walked in and I was talking to I wrote it with Jack LaFrance and the producer Jason Evigan, and yeah, I was just kind of talking them through my mood and that I was feeling weird, and I didn't want to bring that into the studio. Like I didn't want to just have a day where we're all just kind of sulking and sad. So I was like, let's make something out of it. And when I first started writing that chorus, like, I'm sorry I'm here for someone else, it was like on the piano, it was really soft and slow,
yeah.
and it was more it was very slowed down.
Melancholy kind of vibe, yeah.
Jason, he's got like a bunch of synths and pianos and keyboards everywhere, and he's like, dude, this is going to be a sad day. And I remember he said that, and after that, I was like, no. And I walked over to a synth, and I started playing it on the synth, and I did it double time, like the bum 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 bum. And Jack was like, okay, that's sick. Try singing it over that. And we sung it over that a couple times, and then we just moved on to the verse and like just started riffing.
Must be so much fun. I was going to say fun, just to sit there on that synth and just be like, sorry, I'm here. It's like the way that you sing it when it's like got tempo and it's got pace is such a different experience than when you're sitting there trying to emote through a piano.
Yeah, it is writing everything on a piano. It definitely takes things a little slower and softer and sadder. And it ended up being a really fun day at the end of it, where we were all just like throwing in ad libs and messing around and just throwing lyrics at the wall and enjoying ourselves. It just like it really turned the day around. So for me, like that song definitely kind of did a little 180 and turned into something that, in my opinion, is really like fun energy and a good vibe.
Yeah, it's great. And but also the original emotion of the song is captured too. It is a, you know, an emotionally complex song you can dance to, right? Which is like my favorite. That's my. Like if you catch me on a dance floor when I was a kid, man, I'd be the one crying to like Janet Jackson and shit. Like that's my jam. Like
I love that.
get me in my feelings. What was cool about last year was that you and your friends, you know, you all broke through, but you'd been chipping away for time. You all had miles on the road. Like Charlie, we all know. Sabrina, we all know. Chapel, you know, yourself, Shabuzi, everybody had was ready. And I've been asking each of these people, because we've spoken to all of them, you know, and I want to ask you how important that aspect of it is, especially for young creatives listening right now who, like yourself and everyone else, is in a hurry and wants to achieve quickly, right? Because they're searching for results. That's very understandable as a young person. But how important that time of building to the moment when the world actually said, "Who is Benson Boone?" And you were like, "I'm going to show you, and I'm actually able to show you the real me," and not race into it unready.
So, dude, oh man, I have such an eager mindset where like I'm always now, 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 like what's gonna happen right now? How are people gonna react right now? What can I get right now? And in this career that's really good at times, but also it can get a little unhealthy because it takes time, one, to figure out who you even want to be and where you want to go and what your goals are and what kind of music you like and how you want to write it and who you want to make it with and where you're trying to go and what you're trying to give the world. And I've spent a lot of time kind of developing that side of myself, where I've been in the studio a lot, experimenting with different sounds and different people and different instruments. And uh, I'm like, this isn't the music you hear from me now, probably won't be the music you hear from me in 10 years. Like, it's always changing. But I think I've kind of finally found a version of my music that I really, really, really love and I'm very passionate about.
I mean, that 18 to 20, 21, 22 years, those years are so crucial to that development. You're almost doing yourself a disservice if you race past that time and try to just achieve shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's been actually really helpful for me because I'm like, um, it's not as much competitive. I am very competitive in just in who I am, but like it's nice to be able to look at people like Sabrina and Chapel and Teddy Swims and Shabuzi and people that are like doing things in an incredible way, in a very different way, and it's cool to just like be able to watch somebody else and take notes and see like, oh, well, they're doing this, maybe I should do this.
I think it's a really cool thing. I think of the great actors of my lifetime, you know, that Breakfast Club class, you know, those kids who were like running around trying to understand how to navigate fame. And during the 80s, like, whoa, this up. And they were looking at each other trying to figure it out. And yet, if you go back and watch the documentary, which McCarthy did, which was, I thought, done really well, they were all just like, man, thank God we were together during that time. And we were able to help each other even without meaning to or needing to.
Yeah, because it is, dude. It's a lot. Like people see a very, 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 very small portion of anything that I go through. Like they see the live shows, the moments that I want people to see, like the big highs, and they don't see the big lows and the hard work and the 12 hours at a time in the studio for 3 weeks in a row. And
Yeah,
it's like
yeah. Just carving and carving and chipping
it's
and chipping and trying to figure it out.
yeah, and it does get a little soul sucking sometimes where like it's really it's really easy to just get lost in what you're doing. And a lot of times and like even right now, like I'm trying to watch myself and who I am and trying to like hold on to everything that I've ever been taught by my parents. And it's hard and it's always hard and it's always work, but it's definitely nice to feel like you're not alone in that.
It's such an interesting art because I came out like with that microscopic kind of like viral thing of like, okay, here's what I know so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Here's the talent that everyone sees in that little tiny microcosm that you just beautifully described. And now we're somewhere so far down the road where we're like in the real stuff, in the just getting into the real stuff. And so what I see in that is like, you already know what's important to you. The other stuff is like a part of the joy, but you know who you are, man. Like, I mean, I've no doubt we have 10, 15, 20 albums to come from you. That's how I feel.
I feel the same way. And this is something where like it always changes. It's a job that I really, really, really love because it doesn't feel like a job. Like I would have a really hard time, I think, clocking in at 9 a.m. and clocking out at 5. It's just I can't do that. I'm always thinking in some way, shape, or form like about this career or things that are an outcome of this career. And it's like it's exciting to know that it can always be different. It can always be done differently. I can always sing it differently and play it differently and write it differently.
You're an entrepreneur. All artists who back themselves and choose to follow their own dreams and move accordingly and build a framework around themselves are ultimately small business owners. And, you know, if you think about it that way, why wouldn't you be putting as much effort into that as anyone else who's trying to sell some unique product on a high street? It's like, that's who you are. Like, it's fucking courage. I think it's courageous. And I know there's other people doing courageous things all the time. I just don't like it when people shove the arts down the bottom because it's like it was a dream and you got your dream. Oh, congratulations, you got your dream. Like, fuck off. It's hard work and it takes courage.
It also is it's vulnerable at times to put things that you go through out into the world, but also I think it's a great way to feel somewhat understood. And it's just like I'm I'm just doing what anyone else would do. I'm just passionate about something, and I'm trying to figure out the way I want to do it. And everybody's got their thing that they love, hopefully. And a lot of people, don't get to like make a career out of what they love. And I do feel very, very, very lucky and fortunate to be able to be passionate about something and like work at it as a career.